but that has absolutely nothing to do with reading at all. Fantasy is all about just bringing complete chaos into the real world and dealing with it. 15 minutes talking about absolutely nothing. I love how the second I start the camera, literally every thought leaves my head. So I had a video idea. So I went to Half Price Books and the video idea came to me as I was standing there staring at these two books, and I haven't bought a book in I don't even know how long, and I just have been craving, you know, a book buying purchase. So I'm gonna show you the books and then we're gonna do an unboxing from this trash bag right here. Yeah. So I'm gonna open the trash, but it's hopefully not trash, but you'll see. So I bought A Master of Gin by Peter Jelly Clark. So that's the book. Yeah, I bought this one. And then I also bought The Light from Uncommon Stars. So I did purchase both of these books because they are both up for a Hugo Award, which I also just Googled, like, when is the Hugo Award winner going to be announced? And apparently it's this Sunday in like 4 days. And I have never in my life read 2 books in 4 days. But, you know, first time for everything. So let me just tell you what happened in my head. So I was sitting there thinking to myself, man, I really want to buy something. And like, I thought to myself, I've watched Angela from Literature Science Alliance and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I've been watching their channels for, I think I've been watching Sam longer, but I've been watching both of them for months. And they both ranked all of the nominees from like their least favorite to most favorite. And literally, like, Sam had this at the bottom of her list, but she had this at the top of her list. And Angela had this at the bottom of her list, but she had this at the top of her list. So as far as my taste to either one of them, I have no idea, except I know there's one book that they both love that I also love, and I just read it like a couple months ago, and I have a spoiler-free review for it on my channel, and that is the lovely The Bear and the Nightingale. But Angela and Sam both love this book. So what does that mean? I don't know. I just know that I also love it. So I know from what Angela said that this is like a mystery thriller. I think more mystery than thriller. And she said that she's not a huge fan of mysteries. Personally, the only book that I have given 5 stars this year out of all 64 that I have read was a mystery. So I like mysteries. And I'm trying to think, I know Sam also loves like Six of Crows, not one of my faves. She's pretty good about not being like obsessive about her favorites, but like I know that was one of her favorites when she read it years ago, but like she's not one of those people who like has to defend her favorites for eternity or whatever. But yeah, and I've also read the prequel that goes before this, obviously the prequel before the novella that goes before. I think there's 2 novellas before this, and I don't know, I can just, editing me can put on the screen the one that I have read that comes before this. There's 2 that come before it, so whatever one I've read, it should be on the screen for you right there. I'm gonna attempt to read, okay, so here's the problem. But I actually have high hope for both of these, partially because I obviously enjoy both of their channels, but because, so this is mystery, whatever. I've read from the author before. I gave it 4 stars, really enjoyed it. So I guess I have more hope for this one. However, this is blurred by TJ Klune, who wrote one of my all-time favorite books, The House in the Cerulean Sea. And this is supposed to be about, this has like a big music tie-in. So I should probably tell you what they're about, shouldn't I? Instead of just like assuming that you know everything. Yeah, also like, I don't know why there's like a fish. There's a fish on the cover and then it's like outer space. So like, how is a fish in, it's like way more than out of water. It's like out of earth. I don't get it. So what I do know about this is that it's about this woman who I believe she plays violin, or she's a violin teacher, I think. And she made a deal with the devil that he's gonna get her soul, but she has to she has to go get 6 or 7 other people's soul in order to prevent her own soul from being taken. So I know there's trans rep in here. I don't know if the author is trans. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, but I will say another reason that I have high hopes for this is because this is supposed to have a really big like music appreciation wording in it. And another of my all-time favorites is The Name of the Wind. And a reason that that's such a favorite for me is the way he describes like the love for music. So you know, hopefully I'm gonna love them both because I did buy both of them. So yeah, so I love music, and apparently she has already delivered 6 of these souls that she needs to in order to like save her own soul. And the character she's going after for the 7th soul is transgender. And also like the opening, not the opening line, but the like prequel sentence, I don't even know what you call it. It's like kind of a prologue, but not really, because it's literally like just this one section. But it says, people think selling one soul for music is as simple as sign this contract and poof, you're a genius. Were it that easy, the world would be awash in transcendent song. Obviously this is not so. Souls are cheap. The trick is finding the right soul. So I'm just Color me intrigued. Okay, I think we're talking about this one long enough. So let me tell you what this one is about. Okay, I love whatever the hell this is, like clockwork. I love steampunk, okay? Let's talk about His Dark Materials, steampunk, love it. And The Infernal Devices. I cannot believe one of my all-time favorite authors left my brain, but it happens. So we love steampunk. I'm obsessed with steampunk. So this is set in 1912 in Cairo, aka Egypt. Also, this is alchemy. I love alchemy, so I just hope that I like give these both 5 stars, because I've given like literally one book 5 stars all year. Hate that for me. So I guess in the prequel, I'm reading the synopsis here, and it's saying in the prequel that the main character like opened the veil between like the magical and the mundane, which like trope I live for. Love that for fantasy. Fantasy is all about just bringing complete chaos into the real world and dealing with it. I love that. So, and apparently someone is murdered, so need to figure that shit out. Also I love how this one opens too. I love how both of these books open, even though I think I already like love the writing in this. The opening like portion to this says, Archibald James Portentorff disliked stairs, with their ludicrous links ever leading up as if in some jest. There were times he thought he could even hear them snickering. So my only concern is that I have to read this physically, because I did get the audiobook for it. I like listened to the audiobook for it, and it's narrated by Cindy Kay, who apparently has narrated so many things that I'm interested in reading, but she has the most annoying, no shade, I'm sure Cindy's a great girl, sure we love her, but I cannot listen to that breathy, like, I don't even know how to describe it, but you should listen to a sample of it, because personally I hate it. But that's okay, because I also tried to listen to the audiobook of this and absolutely hated it, and then I read it physically, and 4.5 out of 5, okay? Like, this is like probably my favorite, it's definitely my favorite fantasy book of the year. So, but I definitely cannot do the audio for this. No offense, Cindy, but I really just need you to stop breathing so heavily. I would really appreciate it. I know, like, that sounds really mean. Hey, can you just stop breathing? But I mean, I'll try to leave a sample of it below, because it's very breathy. Like, it's just the way she speaks is very breathy. And she probably sounds less annoying than me, but I'm just talking about what I feel like listening to. So, yeah. So we're gonna see whose taste I'm more in line with, because these are literally, according to each other's ranking, like complete opposites in terms of quality, even though they both love this book and I love this book. So obviously that's like 3 stamps of approval. You should definitely read The Bear and the Nightingale, but somehow this is not even about that book. This is about these books. So yeah, I can probably get the audio for this, because I actually really enjoyed the audio for the prequel that I read. So I will probably try to read this first. Can I read this in 4 days and edit and upload a video? I don't know. You're probably gonna see this like after it's announced, but I would like to like read them before it's announced, so that I can know like who I would have picked. Watch it be neither one of these books. Watch it be, I don't even know. I will leave the videos for Angela and Sam in the description, so you can see they both go over like all the books, the order that they're in, all of it. Like, you can see they describe what the books are about, probably more eloquent than I can. Trust them. But also, I just want to know whose tastes I align with more. But again, it means nothing. I feel like there's nobody on BookTube, like literally no one on BookTube, that I would trust every single recommendation they give me, which means that I can think for myself. So we really appreciate that. That means my brain is working, and that, you know, I don't just, I'm not a sheeple. I'm not just a sheep who believes what everybody else thinks. And you shouldn't either. And what kind of lesson was that? Wow, I can't believe we're recording for 15 minutes talking about absolutely nothing. Not giving you any opinions, not giving you any information on the books. So there you go. I will update you whenever I start reading one of these and I get a little bit into it and I have thoughts and opinions. So see you later. Update. I'm now exactly 100 pages into this and I'm liking it. I'm definitely enjoying it. I am annotating it, which is a good sign. I'm really enjoying the way that this book plays with perspective. So we have actually 3 different perspectives, but even more than that, because the way the author is like setting up scenes is like, you'll be introduced to the new character and like have a few paragraphs about them, and then you'll go back to the character that you already know, and then they'll converge. And it's very satisfying how it keeps happening like that, because like it's omniscient narration, which I think is my personal favorite, because you just get a look into every character. But I'm also really enjoying the way that if 2 characters are having conversations with each other, that you're in their head and you know that like there's a female romance being set up, and one of them is always like, of course she already has kids, of course she already has this, but then in the other person's head she's like, oh, of course she's not available. I'm sure she's not available. So you know that like they both like each other because you're in both of their heads, but they're just not saying it out loud. But then they do say it out loud in a way, and then the communication piece is beautiful. And I'm really enjoying the way that the trans character is being treated and the way that like she's being set up. So her name's Katrina, and the teacher is the one that like she's sold her soul, but she's trying to get 7 other people to sell their soul in order to save her own soul, which really is less of a focus on the story than the synopsis makes it seem, which I think is a good choice. And like I just really enjoy the way that like the trans rep is being done, and the way that her name was like Shizuka, she's the teacher, and she's trying to teach Katrina like how to do a violin. I'm enjoying the way the book describes music, the way the food is described, the way I like a lot of the descriptions. I really like the way that it talks about like it's just I like the way it describes things. So but my favorite thing is the way that the author does like internal dialogue and internal thoughts. Like that to me, like when it's 2 characters sitting on a bench together, it's and the way that the perspective is being done, I think is like the strong point of the novel. And like there's just a lot of Katrina being like, but I'm trans, like this teacher is going to be upset when I'm trans, but it's like not even a factor for Shizuka. Like she's just like, that's not relevant for me. Like, and just, so this is about 369. I would like to finish this today. It's pretty early in the day. I think the announcement has already been made. I'm going to try really hard not to look at the Hugo Award. I personally wouldn't, because I wouldn't even like register that it's happening, but because now I know that it's available to look up. But I'm just going to sit here at my desk and update you guys if anything important in the book happens that I feel like having an update about, then I will do it. But so far, really enjoying it. It's going to be at least, if it continues how it's going, it's going to be like at least a 4-star. Yeah, I also really enjoy, there's like a scene when Shizuka goes to like a violin recital, and there's just a lot of discussion around like people and their like people's class kind of, and how it's like, oh, like this person is being taught by this person, so that gives them this certain amount of worth because of who their teacher is. And like it's just interesting because like all these people, like I was thinking about this with like my previous jobs and stuff, how it's like all these people, when you're in that like space, when you're in that part of the community, I guess, like you have all these, like you put so much weight into like a person's teacher or a person's skill set or whatever, but as soon as you like become a person outside of that, or someone who has a different, like you don't like a violin recital thing, what doesn't mean anything to you. It's just so crazy how like all those people have all these opinions and all this, like they have certain reactions to people based off who their teacher is, or they just put so much weight in it. But as soon as you're like an outsider looking in, it's like, but we're all just people. Like it's just so, and the way that whole entire scene played out was also really well written. Like I think the writing is really good, the characters are really good, like everything is really good. So I mean, I would love to get a 5-star read from this, but I've had so little, I don't really have faith that like I just haven't given a 5-star all year except for one. So I would love for that to change, but so far I'm not getting 5-star feels, and I feel like I have to be enjoying the book on a 5-star level from the very beginning to give a 5-star feel. So I'm pretty stingy with my 5 stars, and I'm okay with that. Like but I'm very, very, very generous with 4 stars, because I just feel like most books deserve it. Like most books deserve at least a 4, and those 5s are for the ones that are all-time favorites for me. That's just me. Even like I said at the beginning when I talked about The Bear and the Nightingale, The Bear and the Nightingale is like a 4.5 because it was still so close being a 5-star just because of Vasya. But like a lot of the it was just so slow paced, but it was also the point that it was slow paced. So like I get it. Like I wouldn't blame you if you give it 5 stars, but for me, I couldn't quite give it that, but it was so close. Anyways, I'm going to as I already said, I'm going to continue reading this. But yeah, I'm drinking water, so much water. I'm trying to drink at least like 3 of these a day, which is like over 60 ounces a day. So that's more than 8 glasses of water a day. And yeah, because I'm also on a diet on Nutrisystem, so I've been eating literally nothing, but I eat several times a day. Okay, I'm gonna cut it off. So I will see y'all in my next update. So I'm a little perturbed because I know that I have a Shadowhunter's necklace that I've worn in like past videos, and it has the power rune and it is like the pride flag, and I'm so upset that I cannot find it right now because I really wanted to wear it, and I'm really upset I can't find it. Yeah. I have the, you'll see why I had the knife in a second. So you saw I painted my nails. They were looking terrible, but I was able to go over them a little bit with alcohol. So I think I cleaned it out a little bit, but they still are not that great. But other than me being very upset that I cannot find my favorite necklace, couple things. So let me update you on this first. So I got up to page 162. I'm still really enjoying it. I still really enjoy the way that the trans rep is done. I still think that the perspectives are really good. Everything I said before, I still really enjoy. I'm just gonna add that I also find this book hilarious. Like Rika, she has some very just the way she sets up scenes and the way like it's so funny. And we're starting to kind of see the consequences, or at least it seems to be the whole like she sells all these people's souls. I was kind of like, oh, I guess it's just not gonna be it. No, it's starting to get explored in a way that I'm very intrigued by. So I'm very excited to continue reading this. You know, it could have 4.5 potential. That's very exciting. But this vlog is really just to see if whose taste I align with more, you know? Like Sam versus Angela. So whatever. But the reason that I pulled out a knife is because I have 4 packages here. I know what one of them is, and I know what 2 of them are. I remember what 2 of them are. The other 2, I remember that I ordered them. Actually, I think one of them is a water bottle. So as you also saw maybe earlier, I was having a protein shake because like I said, I'm on this diet, and you know, there's a lot of things you can discuss with diets, but this is a book channel. So you know, I'm gonna open this. I think this is the water bottle. I don't know. I think you're supposed to, I thought it was 1 of these a day, but maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe like it's 2 or 3 of these a day. But yeah, it's literally like as big as my head. I have a huge head. And like one has a straw and one doesn't. Is that what it is? Yeah, I'm gonna use the straw because I love a straw. But yeah, I love a straw. Whether you're on a diet or not, you should definitely drink water. There you go. I am really trying very hard not to DoorDash Panda Express or something because I would like to lose weight. Sorry for anybody who's struggling with that. And I think this is going to be for my camera. Yeah, so I bought a thing that's going to make me possibly able to vlog easier. It's like a handstand thing, so that you can like hold it when you're recording or whatever. I know what the smell. It smells, you know what it smells like? It smells like the handle on a bike. Like when you're holding a bike like this. Like that's literally what this smells like. Wow, wow, childhood. All right, and this one I don't remember what it is. Is it? I really don't remember what it is. Oh my gosh. So you might be seeing this after I completely roasted and trashed the Heroes of Olympus series, but I do love Percy Jackson enough to have purchased. That's right. I'm like re-excited. Okay, I got a Camp Half-Blood shirt. I got one of these. I'm gonna wear it like all the time. I'm definitely gonna wear it if I continue on, which I am going to continue on. I'm going to read, hopefully I'm going to probably read Kane Chronicles and Magnus Chase and then Trials of Apollo. But yes, this is, wow, it's like it's so soft. It smells nice. Like, yeah. Even though I have my issues with Heroes of Olympus, for sure, like I still love Rick Riordan as a person, and I think that he's doing some fantastic work as an author to help promote people that are less fortunate as him, in his own words. You should look at his website. You should look at Rick Riordan Presents. I should read some of those books, obviously. But yeah, okay, we have one more package, which I'm very excited about. So I just finished the first book in the series, and I knew I was gonna love this series because I already love another series by the author. Let me just wave this knife around. Okay. Also, I love how Amazon is advertising these Rings of Power as much as they possibly can. Okay, wait, are you ready? Are you ready? Can you see it? Can you see it? No? How about now? Still no? Wait. Okay, now you can see it. Oh my goodness. Okay, wait, I might actually keep the box this time. I love how these nails are matching like everything I'm doing. So, yeah, I did read Strange the Dreamer and Use of Nightmares and 10 out of fucking 10, like obsessed. And I have been like every single time that I go to the bookstore, this is what I almost buy, but I was like, but I know I can get the box set for cheaper. So, but every single time that I go there, I almost buy this because yeah. And then I finally finished the first book, and let's talk about, oh man. And I was like, I didn't know which covers I wanted because there's like so many different versions of these covers, but I saw that I have the paperback of Strange the Dreamer, and I literally looked at the bookstore like that this is the same height. So I'm gonna have like a tiny little Laini Taylor part of my shelf once I finish the series, and I can put it on my red shelf because now I've separated my red series from my unread, books, not my unread books from my read books. I have separated them. So yeah. But I did read this, and I thought that this cover actually works pretty well considering like the necklace and her hands and her hair. I'm like, you know what? This actually goes with the vibe of the story pretty well, in my opinion. And man, I love that the chapters all have like wings at the top, and that's consistent in Strange Dreamer also. And I know these are like, they might be more connected than I'm assuming, but man, this was another, like, it was 4 stars for me, but I'm expecting like the next 2 to be even better because Laini Taylor's writing is so good. Like, it's just so good. These are huge. 637 pages, this third one. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm done. I will let you know how I can feel about Light from, also these kind of match too. Their color palette is similar, but I will let you know how I feel about Light from Uncommon Stars. Also, I think my camera's yelling at me that it's about to die. Okay, bye. Right before this shot, it had a nice little shot of my bookshelf, so you could see that I do own books, but of course, you don't have to own books to be a reader, so that's dumb. But I also have 6 empty shelves that I really would like to fill with books, but I really don't like having books in my background if I haven't read the books. So, I am so upset for a couple reasons, but I brought my book to work, The Light from Uncommon Stars. I brought it to work for some dumbass reason, and then I left it at work. Like, I didn't read any of it at work because obviously I never had any time because I work, so I was not able to read it. And I would actually really like to read it right now. Like, I'm actually in the mood to read it, and of course I don't have it. So that happened. Also, what happened is that I know who won the Hugo Award, because obviously I did, because I follow bookish people, and people on Book Talk and talked about it. People on Bookstagram talked about it, and I actually haven't seen anybody on BookTube talk about it other than Sam and Angela. I've only seen Sam and Angela talk about it in the videos, which I've already mentioned at the beginning of this video. And so I know that neither one of these books won the Hugo Award, but I still don't care. Like, I still want to read the books and still know, because for me, what's more important is knowing my taste for these people that I watch their content. Because obviously I want to know like who I would trust a recommendation from more. And like, these 2 books are only going to be one example of each. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like I for sure know that if they both like something, I will probably like it. I just want to point out that that comment I just made isn't actually completely accurate because of this book, The 5th Season, which is a book that I personally did not enjoy. But Sam and Angela both love this book a lot. So I cannot trust myself I cannot trust anyone. I cannot trust any recommendation entirely. Which is also good to know because, again, at the beginning of the day I mentioned The Bear and the Nightingale. But yes. So the actual winner was the sequel to a memory called Empire, which I'm pretty sure the sequel is called A Desolation Called Peace. So, and I don't really think I have any interest in reading that, especially because I've heard it's like theme driven, and I was not the biggest fan of The 5th Season, which won Hugo's every year that it came out. So maybe I'm not into like actual winners of this award. I don't know. I'd have to look at like all the novels that won in the past, but that's a lot. And I already have so many other lists of books to read. So I guess I will update you on another thing I'm reading, which is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. So I am like over 200 pages into it. I've been listening to the book on my daily commute to work and while I'm walking my dog and cleaning and all kinds of stuff. And so far, I think I like the first book better, but that's only 200 pages in and there's like 800 total. So I still have like a huge chunk of the book to go. And like, things are being set up. Like, I think that Mr. Sandy is like a little too much setup for my taste, you know? But I loved Kelsier in the first book, and I loved Vin and Ellen's romance in the first book. I have a whole entire review for the first book, like completely spoiler filled, all that. So I will link that. But yeah, so I'm also reading this, and I'm really upset that I don't have The Light from Uncommon Stars. And I was thinking, like, can I get an ebook of it? But then I have to pay money for it, and I already paid money for the book, so like that feels dumb. And then I already mentioned I hate the narrator for the audiobook. Like, I hate her narration, you know, nothing wrong with her, like I said, but like, I cannot stand her voice. The way she narrates is way too breathy. So it's like I can't listen to the audiobook. I can't read an ebook. I might see how much an ebook is, just because, like I said, I really am in the mood to read that and I want to update you guys. Well, I can update you guys because I did read some. I have read, I think I was up to page 245 or so in the book, and I'm still really enjoying it. I think it's gonna, I mean, unless something major happens towards the end, like, there's a lot to be said for the way the book describes food, the way that it describes, I feel like I'm being repetitive here, so I don't know, but I'm enjoying the writing, I'm enjoying the characters. The stakes seem to be coming into play in a way that I think is gonna pay off pretty well. I think it's gonna be, you know, I mean, you can tell from the title, like, Light from Uncommon Star, like, it just sounds, it kind of sounds cheesy, but I don't mind cheese, like, I don't mind things that are cheesy, but like, I don't know. I like sappy shit. So maybe some people would find Light from Uncommon Stars sappy, but you know, that's just, it's funny because I feel like I can be heartless sometimes, but at the same time, like, I love sappy shit. So I feel like I'm like, I cry at movies all the time, and I cried at books too. Like, not this year, but last year I cried plenty of times. So this book, if this book makes me cry, then it'll be like a 4.5, I don't know, maybe 4.25, I don't know. So yeah. And it's like, it's been, I think my last update was 2 or 3 days ago. I feel like people, like, when you watch people vlog, it seems like it's all happening so quickly because of the way jump cuts and edited and stuff. But like, I feel like it's important for people to know that, like, it takes time to read a book. Like, it takes me usually at least a week, even an audiobook, like, it takes me at least a week because, like, I want to do other things. I also want to incorporate other, like, I have 3 main hobbies, I would say, and some people would argue these aren't hobbies, but I like to watch television, I like to play video games, and I like to read books. And I feel like all of these 3 things I would like to, in a way, feature on my channel. So what's my point? I don't know. I'm just saying, I feel like, my thing is, I feel like my channel has become like YouTube pushes your content to be so focused on one thing, but a lot of other people like follow people, like, sure, there's that niche thing that interests them in that person, but then they kind of follow you because they're more interested in, like, the person and also their other hobbies. And I don't want to only read. Reading is not my favorite hobby. My favorite hobby is probably television, but television, like, isn't good if that's like all you're doing all the time. But I don't have this mindset that television, like, rots your brain or whatever. I think I've actually learned a lot of valuable lessons from television. So, but I especially love fantasy television. So, plus it's just, honestly, it's just so much easier to consume at a rapid rate. Like, it just, next episode, like, I see all these bookish t-shirts that are like, just one more chapter. And I'm just like, but how about that feeling of just one more episode? Like binging a Netflix show or binging whatever. So I want to incorporate, hopefully in this vlog, I know in my Heroes of Olympus vlog, which hopefully is going to go up before this one, maybe. I know in that one, I mentioned like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and stuff. And like, I've actually at this point in time finished that show. So if you've seen Buffy, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts on it. But yeah, I really want to incorporate, so I'm still trying to figure out what works on my channel, and I think the reason that my videos aren't a big thing that makes your videos go well and perform well is like your excitement and energy in the video, obviously. And I feel like, obviously I love reading. Obviously I've read 100 books last year. I read like 60 this year. Like, I do love reading, but it is not my favorite hobby. It's just not. And like, I have this like mentality that's like, okay, I see all the other people enjoying it. It's been my whole life where I get obsessed with something, and a big like fuel behind the obsession is like other people being obsessed with it. So when other people are obsessed with it, then I also want to become obsessed with it, because it's like, I want to have that passion that other people have. So, and I feel like that's somewhat of like an imposter syndrome thing, but then I'm like, I don't even read books. Like, I'm literally out here like, I don't even read books. But then but I read 60 books this year. Like, I obviously read books, but then I'm like, but they're just audiobooks. But audiobooks are reading. So this is a whole rant that like, like, what even is the point of this? I'm just saying, I am still trying to figure out my footing on my channel. So depending on how the vlogs go, we might incorporate more vlogs. We might only do vlogs. We might, who's we? I live here alone. Like, me and my child. Me and, what are you doing? Come here. Yeah, me and this one. This is me and Charlie. So, what? You say hi to the camera? No? Hi. Thank you for your guest appearance. So that's Charlie. So like I said, so you might see more gaming clips. or television discussions. Like right now I'm watching Murder, She Wrote, which is a mystery series because I do love mystery. The only book I've given 5 stars all this year, side note, is a mystery, which is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I like, all-time favorite, like instant all-time favorite. So yeah, I need to read more mystery. Like I want to read more mystery books as well, but I also want like more mystery just media outside of books. So like I grew up watching like Diagnosis Murder, Psych, and Monk, like those shows on the USA, like they all had mystery themes to them and like detective things to them. Like I never finished Monk or Psych, and I really would like, those are 2 shows I would love to go back and like watch from the beginning and finish them. Now that I'm saying that, like I'm gonna see if I can find either of those shows, because yeah, I would love to. But right now I'm watching Murder, She Wrote, which has that chick from Beauty and the Beast, which most of my generation will probably recognize, but she did Murder, She Wrote before she ever was the little teapot in Beauty and the Beast. So for like 12 years, she was doing that before I was even walking this earth. So, but every time she talks, I'm just like, Miss Potts. Okay, so I will update you when I have something to say about the book, which will probably not be today because it takes more than 1 day to read a book for me personally, because I like my other hobbies. There you go. And I'm trying to teach myself that. And you should teach yourself that, because like, especially on BookTube, especially watching all this BookTube, like you just kind of get in this mindset, especially watching people who read 300 or 400 books a year. You're just like, wow. But then you have to remember to yourself, like, do I want to do that? Do I want to subject myself to that? And for me, the answer is no. But if the answer is yes for you, more power to you. All are welcome here. All are welcome here. Okay? All opinions are valid. All opinions, everything is welcome here. So let me know your favorite hobbies. Let me know your favorite hobbies besides reading. I would love to know. Okay, I'll see you on my next update. Bye. I found it. I'm so happy that I found it. And this one necklace has had me be like, you know what? I have other jewelry. I can accessorize my entire hand, this hand. Maybe I should put, I just actually love. So here I am, accessorized. Also, for my last update, I said I wish I could find the ebook or something, and then I remembered that I have Scribd. So I actually was able to read this last night, which I remembered to bring home today. So I got up to chapter 30. So that is page 283. So I still have like 100 pages left, I think, or a little bit less, because it's 369 total, whatever. I'm still really enjoying it. I don't really have much to say. I'm intrigued how it's going to end. Like, I'm very intrigued the way this book is going to end, and like, I do feel like it's going to be cheesy, but like I said before, I don't mind that. I don't mind something a little bit cheesy. In other news, I have still been listening to this as well, and I loved the first book in this series, and I feel like many people think that the second book is their favorite in this series. And I mean, I'm only 38%. I just feel like there's so much setup to what is hopefully going to be a Sanderlanche, as people refer to it. Like, there's just so many twists and turns at the end of his novels, and I definitely felt that with the first book. And a lot of things from the first book are still being like relevant, and a lot of characters that I enjoyed from the first book, I'm still enjoying in this book. But I'm just kind of like, I'm thinking to myself as I'm reading this, like, I'm reminded that a lot of my favorite series are urban fantasy. And earlier in this video, we've already discussed imposter syndrome, which is interesting because this book itself also talks about imposter syndrome. I'm actually enjoying the plot of this series. This book in the series, I'm enjoying the plot, I think, less than the first book, but I'm enjoying like themes and ideas more in this book, I guess. Like he's talking about leadership a lot, and like what it means to be a leader, how to be an effective leader, and which is interesting because like my my work life is kind of, it's funny because I am also a leader at work in a way, and I feel that I'm trying to be an effective leader. And I was like, it's so weird because and it just proves to me like there's so much, like, not that I see, but I know there's like critiques of fantasy and people being like, you can't, like, fantasy is just for fun, but there really is a lot to be said. I love how I'm talking about this and I'm not saying anything negative. So I mean, maybe I'm enjoying it more than I'm leading on, but if you watch my spoiler review, then you know that I really liked specific characters, and especially by the end of the first book. But I don't want to say who makes it into book 2 in case you haven't read it, even though everyone seems to have read it. But I'm also farther than this. I can tell you I'm on chapter 25. So it's like, that's 7 chapters that I listened to while at work. So I'm actually here in the book, actually a little bit farther possibly. So I'm over a fourth of the way into it. I love the magic systems. There are 2 magic systems in this series, which I love, and I'm enjoying the themes, but the plot isn't as gripping as the first one, I feel like. But that's only so far because, like I said. But as I also said, my favorites are urban fantasy, and I feel like I have hardly read any urban fantasy this year. Urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy, like more real world settings. Like I want more real. I mean, just look at, I love Cassie Clare. I really want to read. Honestly, I really want to read Sarah J. Maas' Crescent City series because it's like urban fantasy, but I don't know. And I want to read like Jennifer L. Armentrout. Here I am holding a Sanderson book, being like, but what about JLA? Like I just feel like I can appreciate this, but I don't think this is going to be an all-time favorite series for me. Which, like how blasphemous for me on a BookTube channel to not be up Sanderson's ass, but that's okay. It's okay. Not everybody loves Sanderson, but like I'm enjoying it. And it's funny because I just watched a live show with Mara and Bethany and Angela, who I also have mentioned several times in this specific video because of this book, but they talked about hype and book hype, and I mean really it's just exhausting. Like it's just, but like at the same time I know what it's like to love a book and want to share that, so I get it. Like I get the Sanders stands, I get it. I understand why you want to share your love because you love it, and of course if you love it I want to love it, but I don't not love it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like it's not going to be an all-time favorite series. Like it's just an enjoyable, accessible, high fantasy story. I do think it's really, really good for beginners for sure. So if you're interested in high fantasy, this is a great place to start so far. As someone who's just read the first book, and that's what I'm saying too. Like I feel like I'm an imposter because it's like, but I haven't read the Mistborn trilogy to its entirety, so I'm fake. Except that I'm not, because I've read plenty of fantasy and I like fantasy in all forms, especially in television as well. Why is it, anybody who's a doctor or in the medical field, can you explain to me why when you wear jewelry, I feel like I can see my veins like more clearly? I can see my veins more clearly if I'm wearing jewelry. Is that a thing? Like, I don't know. You tell me. I'm not in the medical field. But that has absolutely nothing to do with reading at all. So I am gonna get back to this and hopefully finish it tonight, but probably not because that's like 100 pages and I don't normally read that fast. And it's okay if you don't read that fast. It's okay to be a slow reader. It's okay to read 1 book a month. It's okay. You're all, as I've already said, you're all welcome here. I really hate being repetitive. So hopefully my next update will be once I have finished this so that I can start the other book that I mentioned at the beginning. Okay, see you later. Bye. I finished it. I finished a book. Even though it was only 369 pages, which is not long at all. But like I read this whole thing with my eyes, which feels like a major accomplishment to me. I think I'm gonna give it a 4-star because I definitely think the strength in the writing is the characters. Like I think the characters, like what I kept thinking about when I wasn't reading the book was like, I wonder what that character is doing. Like, and I feel like these are characters that I would want to return to in a way. Like I would love to see, like, I don't know, maybe not really, like not these specific characters, but I think that the author's work with characters is interesting to me. So, but I didn't cry. There wasn't like some huge emotional impact. The ending was pretty wild in a good way. Like I really liked how it all wrapped up. Like I like where all of our characters land, and it was a like kind of cheesy, but I don't think it was sickly sweet by any means. Like it was definitely handled pretty well in that aspect. So yeah, I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And part of me wonders if I'm gonna give the other one 4 stars because I need to find something that like has like, I should tell you, I might have already mentioned this, but I've only had 1 5-star book all year. And I feel like most of the 5 stars I gave last year had a lower rating on average. So maybe, like I need to pick some more controversial things because I need to read something that doesn't work for people and it does work for me. Like those are the kinds of things that's just what I'm thinking about, because this feels like a book that's kind of for everyone. Like it's very accessible. It's very like, nothing in here, like it's not pushing an envelope too far. I mean, there is obviously discussions of like a transgender character, and some people I'm sure will have issues with that, but I did really enjoy the way that was discussed and how it was like Katrina, that's the trans character, like her thoughts were always, I thought, well done. I thought they would be the same thoughts as a trans character and all that, but yeah, so I think I might have tried to do the audiobook for the other one. So this one is actually much longer. Not much longer. This is like 430. This was 369. So somebody else can do the math. But I'm pretty sure that I know that the prequel was on Scribd. So I feel like this one should be on Scribd. I feel like I searched it before and it was 15 hours. Okay, so even though I'm also in the middle of this audiobook, I think I'm going to put that on pause so that I can listen to this and I can wrap up this project. It is like almost midnight right now, so I'm probably not going to start it tonight, but obviously I will update you as I read The Master of Jin. I love a good, satisfying mystery, so I will see you in my next update. Couple things. So, several things, really, actually. I didn't realize that this entire vlog was going to be me sitting at my desk. But yeah, I'm literally just sitting at the desk the entire vlog. So that's not really a vlog, but like, what else do you call it? Me sitting at a desk talking at a camera for 45 minutes? I don't know. And also, I didn't realize this vlog was so long. Like, it's literally just me sitting at the desk talking, but I didn't realize it was gonna be that long. So yeah, but I do have several updates regarding these two. So you've already seen everything. All my thoughts on this have already been discussed. And I have 2 clips before this one where I mention like how I was feeling about this that are right now they're showing, like I'm trying to upload them, but they're saying it's corrupt. So you may or may not have seen those before this. If you did see those before this, my thoughts didn't change. If you didn't see them, then my thoughts are that I really enjoyed the lore, the mythology. Plot is pretty engaging, but the characters in this book are just not really, they're not really giving. They're just not really giving. And I just did not find this to be like, it was a 3-star. It was a 3-star. It was very middle of the road. I'm glad that I've read it so that I had this experience. I'm glad to have experienced this book, but I will most likely not read any continuation of this series. However, because I enjoyed the prequel, I definitely want to read Ring Shout because I feel like Peter Jelly Clark has somehow better, like, I don't know, he just has that skill set of short stories, and I feel like some authors are better at the novel versus the short stories, like, I don't know. And I think for me, P. Jelly Clark maybe is going to be, I really want to read Ring Shout because that whole plot still really appeals to me. But as far as this book is concerned, I did find some twists at the end were pretty exciting, but it just, the characters were just so whatever. And like, I'm really curious now if it's something to do with like Jin mythology, because every other series that I've read that has like Jin mythology, like An Ember in the Ashes, I didn't want to continue that series after the first 2 books, and City of Brass, I didn't want to continue after the first book. So is it me? Like, is it me? Or is it just it's just something I'm trying to figure out, you know? Like, I'm always just trying to figure out what I like to read so that I can recommend things and figure out what I don't like, so I can, you know, and figure out who has a similar taste to me and who doesn't. But in this case, in this specific instance, I know one book that I don't know. So I think maybe I would trust Angela more is the takeaway from just these 2 here. But I mean, considering that Sam put this at the bottom of her list, and I would probably put it closer to the top half of the list, I would guess. I don't know. I'd have to read all the other nominees. Like, the fact that she put it so low has me just think that her tastes and eyes are not completely similar, even though, like, I love her content and her channel, and she's one of the few people I'm subscribed to that, like, I get an alert when she uploads. Like, I just, you know, I really enjoy her channel. So, but now I'm like, maybe I should do that for Angela, because this was so good. Like, this was so enjoyable. Like, I annotated it. Like this just washed over me like it was nothing. And that sounds really negative, but some stories just don't stick with you the way others do. Like this, like I said, like these characters I'm going to remember. Like, I'm going to remember them like in a year, I would think. That's my hypothesis. But these, Fatma is not. City, Like, I hate being negative. Like, I don't want to be negative, but I just didn't connect with the characters, and that's as simple as that. Like, and lots of other people have. Like, the reviews for this that people that I follow are giving it like 4 and 5 stars left and right. Like, so happy for them. But they're like, I'm shocked. Like, I did not expect a 3-star. Like, I really did not expect a 3-star. I really didn't. I thought it would be like at least a 4. I thought it would be like, okay, like I can see the appeal. Like, I can see why this is mass appeal, blah, blah. And I also mentioned earlier, I briefly Mentioned the live show with Mara and Angela and Bethany. I think Bethany was the third person. I'll leave it linked below because it's a great discussion about book hype, and it was on Mara's channel. But I think there's something that they talked about is that a lot of these really hyped books, they just become books that are just very accessible for everyone. And I'm learning personally that books that are for everyone aren't really my personal favorites. Like, my personal favorites are books that really mean something, like, to me as an individual, like a book that just speaks to me on a level that just cannot, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, books that are for everyone are 4 stars to me. Like, this is a book, even though, like, I can see why this probably hit me in a more personal level because it has someone in the LGBT community in it featured heavily, and they're like, I don't have a point. I'm not good at making a point. I'm just saying, like, when I think about my all-time favorites, like The Name of the Wind, Strange the Dreamer, The Diviners, like, those are all all-time favorite books for me. And a big reason for it is with Strange the Dreamer and The Name of the Wind, it's like the writing in it and just the way that it just hits on a level that nothing else has. Like, just something about the way sentences are structured. It's like, clearly I could never write that well. Like, I could never make a video that eloquent and stuff, but yeah, I feel like this was lacking in the sense of, like, writing to really take it to another level for me. Like, there was definitely, like, the prose here wasn't, like, if the prose had been on a higher level in a sense, I feel like this could have been a 5. But this, for me, was pretty disappointing because, like, I really thought I was going to enjoy, because I'd enjoyed the short story and because I really wanted to read a mystery. And I also realized in editing that I mentioned how few 5 stars I've had all year. I mentioned it like 6 times. So can you tell I'm upset about it? So I'm gonna, for now, say that my taste does seem to align more with Angela. So I'm, like, watching her favorites list and I'm trying to see. I'm really curious. Again, another book that I want to read, hopefully in, like, my next vlog or my next, just, I don't know, I'll read it on my own time, who knows. But the Ruin of Kings. I'm very curious how I will feel about this because I know Sam didn't like it and Angela really liked it. And I also know Bethany really liked this. So maybe I can think to myself, like, because if I can't figure out what books I'm going to enjoy from one booktuber, maybe it's like, because I said before, it was like, okay, maybe if Angela and Sam like it, then I'll like it. But even that has been proven, and my editing self mentioned, like, that is also proven not to be true because of the 5th season. So it's like, I'm just thinking of all the booktubers that I follow that read fantasy that also interest me, and it's like, who can I trust? Not that that's just, I feel like that's just a journey that we all take as readers. Like, we all want to know, like, who do we go to for, like, a solid recommendation? And for me, it's no one. But thanks for this one, Angela. So that's going to be it for this vlog. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter all in the description below. And hopefully in my future vlogs, I can learn how to stop ranting so much because, man, that was a lot to edit. But also, it's not really a vlog. It's me sitting at a desk. So maybe I'll call it something different. I don't really know. But have a great day. Bye.